Starting to the top right, we have our Protoss player in best of 3, number 1. It is
LGIM Ruin.
LGIM Ruin has shown us a couple of really interesting games in the Team League in the last season. Let's see what he can do in the Challenger League here. Going up against the Terran today. Starting at the bottom right of Frost, we have
CJN to Byung.
Someone who's shown really good. I feel like his strength lies in the mid game. We've seen him play really good games in the past, and he was also pretty dominant at a time. But
yeah, he had a bit of a run, but then like he had this season when I think it was actually when we were still in the old studio back in Mukdong, where he had a couple of really impressive wins. But then he kind of established himself as a mid-tier player within Korea, I would say. Like on a Korean level, he is more like a little bit mid-tier. He can take games of the best players. Every now and then he has like a really good run. But he's one of the players that you will see in the Challenger League quite a lot. But he came here through the Premier League.
Yeah.
He lost in the first round of the Premier League. He took 3rd place in his group. That's why he has to play the 2nd round here. He did not drop to the 1st round, so he was never in danger of actually completely being out of the WCS run this season. And this is his first play. On the other hand, we have Ruin, who won against SC of all people with a quick 2-0. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do now against another Terran player. I mean, in this situation, it's going to be a pretty interesting match. I feel Ruin is someone who we can expect a lot if he keeps it up.
yeah. You know, Byung was, a lot of people were thinking during that season that you were talking about that he was going to be, you know, one of the best Terran players in Korea. But I feel like right after that, Innovation kind of took his spot. And definitely is known for that much better now than Byung is. And Byung, of course, falling to the Challenger League, does not look as dominant either. But he gets an SCV Scout in here, and he's going to be following up with the Reaper Scout to see exactly where the 3rd pylon is, see if there's an expand. And nothing weird from Ruin, apart from the fact that he hasn't taken a 2nd gas. Looks like he just wants to push that Nexus out a little bit faster. Speaking of which, he's denied by an SCP right now. He has to send a 2nd probe.
Yeah, the SCV definitely going to be a bit of a nuisance here for him. And, well, you know, talking a little bit about the run that we had, that we've seen from Byung in the Premier League, he was in the group together with Maru, who took 1st spot. He was in the group with Sleep, who was able to beat the Terran players. It was a group with 3 Terrans and a Zerg, so we didn't see a single Protoss in there. Now Byung has to play a completely different matchup. And it's also a matchup where he's not too confident in. He's on a 5 and 6, which leaves him with a 45% win ratio. And the last few games that he played against Protoss player, he lost them. He lost to Flying without taking a map. He lost 2 stats. So we're going to see if he can overcome this. Ruin, on the other hand, is exactly at a 50% win ratio with 7 and 7 with a victory against C just recently. But he was taken out by players like Keen and Innovation Maru. So if you think about the level of players that Ruin faced in the few games that we have recorded here, he faced much tougher Terran players than the Protoss players that Byung had to deal with. So I would definitely give, in this situation, maybe Ruin even a slight advantage, even though Byung is definitely the more experienced player.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. When it comes to scouting information in this game, Ruin just got in the main base with the probe, saw 1 gas, he saw the tech lab going down instead of a reactor, which is actually a little bit unusual for this. Usually you see a faster reactor here to get the marine production out, to hit that time where you can force out the photon overcharge in the mothership core. But seeing that tech lab means he knows he's going to be facing a much faster stim, and what he did not see, actually, unluckily for him, was the engineering base. So it's going to be a fast +1 with stim, and this type of timing is actually pretty scary. Even if you have the mothership core there, you can lose a lot of probes if, for example, Byung wants to trade down with his Marines against the probes. Probably won't happen, but it's definitely a possibility. It's a really, really fast aggressive timing, especially here with this 3rd barracks being added now.
3rd barracks already going in, so he really wants to do some damage with this. And as you already said, I mean, the upgrades are currently like on the board, and on the other hand, for Ruin, I mean, he's playing it pretty normal. We don't see any kind of proxy Stargate play that we've seen in the last few games here in the Challenger League. We have him now with a normal opening. We're very standard, very stable, going into the robotics right away. Gives him a lot of stability. You can get, of course, then also with the robotics bay, the first Colossus out, which usually gives you a lot of safety against marine pressure at that time. But for now, of course, it's only going to be the observer, trying to find out what exactly am I up against.
Yeah, he wants to know exactly how many barracks there are. Is there a fast 3rd CC? What's the medevac timing going to be? And with this this type of build, It doesn't look like he's going to actually try to attack with Stim and try to force that overcharge, but rather wait for medevacs and hit that faster time with not only Stim, but also the combat shield. So we'll see what he has planned exactly. This is really good positions for him. Obviously, he can attack much faster at these locations.
We have a lot of chrono energy actually saved up for the Protoss player, and Ruin is going for Immortals, and he's chrono boosting them. So at this point in time, actually, the opposite is the case of what we expected after seeing that the barracks going down. It's not Byung who's trying to move out here and maybe just poke. The Mothership Core, of course, always a big problem if you really want to do that early game pressure. But instead it is Ruin who is starting to be aggressive on the map. He puts the forward pylon down. We have him with the first Immortal already in the game, and he's just chrono boosting the next one.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how much I like this pressure here by Ruin considering what he scouted. Now, I think he thinks that's Stim, but it's obviously combat shield. The Stim has been done for a long time. If you have Stim versus an attack like this, you're usually feeling pretty okay. But he only has one bunker, and that might be a problem here. He also doesn't have too many units just yet. He's making Widow Mines. I think he realizes what's going on. He's getting just only one medevac out here, and now he sees he needs to make more bunkers, but it's too late.
Yeah, it's a little bit too late for the additional bunkers. Here come the SCVs right through a beautiful force fields. Brilliant, using the missile turret against him. That was very well done here, but no Marines going down so far. The force fields are good, but we have at the top of the cliff now immediately the 2 Widow Mines, and that is an issue.
And he needs to be very careful. The Stalkers here. Nice micro here. Not getting too close, not activating the Widow Mines, getting one of them without a single shot going off. I don't know how much he can really commit to this right now, but he starts at third base at the top left of the map, totally hidden.
I really love it. It's the farthest distance away from the Terran player's position that is possible on this map, and he is going for the hidden nexus. He's poking, and look how much mining time is already lost for Byung. Byung is scared here. The Observer alone already doing such a great job for Ruin. He can snipe those Widow Mines. And the SCVs, they are not mining. He's losing mining time, and he expects a huge commitment. And of course, why wouldn't he? But the third base is a problem, and he doesn't even know about it.
Yeah. I feel like Byung has got to be wondering, why do you only have one Immortal with this? What is this build? I don't understand. I mean, he started the second Immortal, ended up canceling it. It doesn't look like he wanted to commit 2 Immortals, but I like it with the third Nexus coming up here. He's also chrono boosting out upgrades, getting the Twilight Council up. And like you said, so much force lost mining time. He's causing a panic here from Byung. And I just don't think Byung is going to find out about this base for a long time if he ever finds out about it.
Byung, in this situation, probably feels pretty good. He might wonder, okay, why do you have only one Immortal? But he thinks, well, you went for aggression and I held. I held your push, so I'm gonna be good here. But the opposite is actually the case. If he doesn't scout the map, then he will find himself in trouble. He could do damage before that. There's still a point in or a period in the game right now where Ruin has to be a little bit careful. He invested the additional minerals into the base at the top left. He transferred a couple of probes. So that's a huge commitment that he made here. And he made a massive mistake in the main base with his own probes, but realized it in time, thankfully.
Yeah, there's one Widow Mine there, but it's not doing a whole lot for him. Mothership Core might get sniped. That was close. Time Warp goes down, but this Nexus is definitely going to die here. No way he can save that. It's practically already dead as we speak.
Wow, a beautiful move here by Byung, and that's exactly what I was talking about a little bit earlier. There is a timing where Ruin is a bit weak, and that's exactly what we saw here. In the main base, the problem already occurring, the whole army going up the ramp, and then suddenly the move in at the bottom, even with the force fields, he couldn't save it. The Mothership Core nearly sniped. You could see that Ruin was there in a lot of trouble. That Nexus at the top left is now kind of his saving grace.
Exactly.
But that was supposed to be his game-winning move, like what gives him an advantage in the late game, and that might not come into play now.
Exactly. Now this attack here in the main base only gets a pylon. He's just trying to find an angle where Ruin is a little bit preoccupied at the natural. There are DTs, meanwhile, going up to the base of the natural. At least he made one. One observer does get sniped. Okay, so he didn't actually send it in just yet.
One of the problems that Byung is facing is that he is working under false assumptions. He doesn't know that there is another base. So currently he's assuming that there is only one mining base for the Protoss player. If he will never find out what's going on, of course at some point he's going to have an inkling. He's like, wait a second, you have much more stuff than you're supposed to have. Like, what is going on here? And he will scout. But for now he thinks, I'm massively ahead in economy, I have a great position here, but the position is not as good as he thinks.
Yeah, exactly. So for him, he's probably thinking, okay, that second drop didn't do too much damage, but what does he really have? Oh, nice here, this factory does scout the DT. He should have noticed that DT came out there. He's already got a turret, which is surrounded by depots, so this DT is going to do nothing.
Yeah, the DT not doing a whole lot here. But Ruin right now, as you can see, he's falling a little bit behind, but in general, he's still fine. He's getting that Nexus up again. He's now starting to mine from 3 bases once more, and there's just no amount of scouting on the map. Ruin is gearing up with additional production, and he's also going into Storm. And I mean, we've seen how good Storm is. If you haven't watched the games between MC and MMA at the WCS finals in Europe, then definitely do that. That's one of the things where you realize immediately how important it can be to just snipe Storm in time. And then just pull the SCVs, go for the YOLO, and win the game.
You know, even what we saw yesterday at the placement matches with Trap versus Joxy, the Storms can be so good. That late game boss army is so strong. He wants to force heal these, and he does. The army at the bottom, though, really nicely done. He actually comes up just to catch those Zealots behind the force field.
He has to buy himself a little bit more time, just a little bit more time. But the Cannons alone are already doing the job. He has Ghosts on the other hand. Why are those side temp? Okay, there they are on the high ground. That makes a whole lot of sense. But we have the high ground vision. Here comes the Storm on the other hand. And too many Cannons. Another Storm could finish the job. But that's a huge Terran army that we have. Another High Templar is trying to get into position. Where are the Storms? He doesn't have the energy.
Oh, he doesn't have the energy. He's so close. The Nexus Cannon doing some serious work here. There's the Storm. And you know, it doesn't kill a whole lot of units, but it buys him the time he needs. The Nexus Cannon continuing to fire here.
I don't think that can Young really push through here. Another Storm hits home, and that should be for now the end of the aggression. But that's still a very dangerous army that's currently at the bottom of the ramp. 60 army supply against 40. Drop in the main base at the bottom right. Really good move by Ruin. That's exactly what he needs here, but he needs to hold somehow. Here comes the Archimov. He doesn't have the energy, and he knows it. Another round of Warpins. Archons to the rescue, but can they really pull this off?
He's using DTs as well now to actually help out. I really like this choice. The more DTs he has, the more damage he can do without there being any scans. This Templar is way out of position right now. No energy. He has to use probes here. He's trying to buy time. He knows that if he just holds on a little bit longer, he does have that third base. He is doing some damage in the main, but Young may just have too much here. It looks like it's over here.
He's going for a third base as well, and he just has too much. 72 army supply against 20. The timings of the Terran player are beautiful here. Even without knowing about the base of the top left, he is able to overwhelm Ruin. This is going to be the 1-0 for the Terran player.
GG. And you know,